Hi, I'm Tracy, and this video is a quick introduction to everything you need to know about Duolingo for Schools. Whether you're just getting started or you've been here for a long time, hopefully this video will have something new and interesting for all of you. If you haven't been with us for a while, you'll need to create a Duolingo for Schools account. You may need to even create a Duolingo account. You can go to schools.duolingo.com to get started. You can click login or sign up, or if you already have a Duolingo account, you can find the schools page under the More option on your Duolingo Learning homepage. No matter which option you select, you'll be taken to this Let's Create Your First Classroom page. From there, you can enter just a few pieces of information and you'll have your first classroom. Now, you can see that you're on the Students tab, and the first thing you're going to want to do when you've got a classroom set up is add students. So let's talk through how to do that. As I mentioned, you're on your first Students tab, and you've got your first classroom, and you want to add some students. So the first thing you're going to do is click that big Add Students button in the middle of the page. Once you do that, this little screen will pop up, and you'll have a few different options. The first thing that you can do if your students already have accounts on Duolingo is you can invite them with the classroom link or with your classroom code. So you can copy that link and send it to them, or students can go to duolingo.com/classroom and enter your classroom code on that page. Another option that you have is to add students directly from this page. You can either copy and paste or type in your class list. You can include names and email addresses or just names. If there is no existing Duolingo account for your student, the new accounts will just be created for those students. If students do have Duolingo accounts associated with the email that you enter, on the next screen, Duolingo will let you know and show you what the names associated with that email address is. That way you're not creating extra accounts for students along the way. Once you have your students set up, you can view some class information straight from that Students tab. So let's check that out. First thing you can see is who has joined your class. On this screen, you can see that I invited myself to this schools team classroom, but because my invitation is pending, I haven't accepted that invitation yet. I can click resend to resend that invitation if you have students who haven't accepted those invitations yet. Once all of your students have joined your class, if you haven't selected a specific student's name, you can see some information about the whole class in the right-hand column. At the top, you can see the most recent assignment. Underneath that is the classroom leaderboard if you have it enabled. And below that is all of the class activity, and you can scroll down and all of the students' activity will be there in that list. From this page, if you select the Manage Students menu, you can click on an option that's titled View Course Progress. This is going to give you a pretty cool visual of where every student in your class is in the course. So this is the French from English course. That's what our schools team is learning. And you can see here that Aditya, for example, second row, is in unit 30. He's learning to talk about days and times. You can see that Daniel is in unit 121. He's learning to talk about dressing up and using his imagination. And you can see that Marcel is in unit 1. He's just getting started using basic phrases and greeting people. You can also see that there are 199 total units. And then look at that. Bridget has actually completed all 199 units. And actually, Bridget just moved to Toulouse, France. So that would make sense. All right, on the Students tab, you can also view some information about specific individual students. So if you select a student, and here I've selected Connor, over on the right-hand side where it used to have class information, you can now see some information specifically about Connor. You can see his name and email address, and you can actually click Send Login, and that will generate a one-time magic link that will sign them into their account automatically. And this is what that will look like if you click Send Login. You can copy and send the link to them, or if they have an email associated with their account, they'll receive it in their inbox. Under their personal information, you can see what unit in the learning path the student is on, as well as any progress they've made in that course since joining the class. So here you can see that Connor is at Node 4 of Unit 101. It's the Intro to Unit 101. He has earned 8,172 XP since he joined the school's team classroom, and he has learned for 8 hours and 3 minutes on Duolingo since joining. Below that information is Connor's past assignment performance. He's completed 37 of 69 assignments on time. He completed 28 of 69 late, and he missed 4 of 69 assignments. Finally, below all of that information, you have Connor's activity log, where you can continue scrolling to see all of Connor's activity on Duolingo. Finally, from this view, you can select the gear icon next to Connor's personal information, and from there you can edit his email, move him to another classroom, reset his password if he's forgotten it, or remove him from your class. Now let's move on to the Assign tab, where you can search and view course information. Now, you'll notice that your Assign tab is laid out to mirror the path for the course that your students are in. Here, the course is French from English. If you're like me, the first thing you'll notice is the filters button in the search field. So let's check those out. If you click the filters button, it allows you to select the level of content. If you've adjusted the settings in your class settings to show ACTFL rather than CFR for the proficiency scale, you'll see that reflected here. You can also change the content type or the learning objectives that you're looking for. Then if you go to the search field, you can type in a term or terms and find the content that applies. Here I've typed past tense, and I found that the lessons on the past tense begin in the 7th node of Unit 38. Back to this unit view, you can see that it's laid out like the student's learning path. And for the course and for each unit, there's a lot of information. So let's start actually on the far right-hand side where you can see course information. At the top, you can create an XP assignment, and then you can see that in the French from English course, there are almost 7,000 words, there are 199 units, there are 288 Duolingo stories, and it covers CEFR levels A1 through B2. Again, if you've selected ACTFL, that will be reflected here. Moving over to the Unit 1 section of that page, you can see that Unit 1 covers basic phrases and greeting people. The unit is aligned with CEFR level A1. It introduces 39 words, includes 1 story, and there are currently 5 students in the school's team classroom working in this unit. In the header for this unit, you'll also see a guidebook button. I'll show you what these guidebooks look like in just a second. Under the header, you can see the first node, 1-1, includes 4 learning objectives, making basic statements, asking basic questions, name basic objects, and giving basic information about self and others. And it also includes 3 grammar skills, so singular, indefinite articles, etc. Then if you click Show More, you'll be able to see what words are introduced in this node and by lesson. So in lesson 1 of this first node of the first unit, the words homme, garçon, chat, and est will be introduced. Now let's check out those guidebooks. Here you can see the Unit 1 as well as the Unit 14 guidebook. Guidebooks include key phrases as well as grammar tips contained in their respective unit. These appear in the learning path too, so students can use them like little study guides as they move through Duolingo. And now let's talk about how to create an XP assignment. You can do this from the Assign tab, and you can also create an XP assignment from the Reports tab. I'll cover that in the next section. It works exactly the same way. From the Assign tab, you can find the Create XP Assignment button on the far right hand of the screen. If you select Create XP Assignment, this screen will pop up. The first thing you'll want to do is indicate the amount of XP that you want students to earn. The screen will give you an approximation of the amount of time it will take students to earn different amounts of XP. For example, you can see that earning 10 XP is approximately equal to doing 5 minutes of work on Duolingo. It's important to note that these are estimates. Some students will move more quickly, some will move more slowly. So you can see that information in your reports that we'll see in just a minute. Once you've selected the amount of XP, you can select which classes the assignment should apply to. You can select either one class or all of the classes or just a few classes. After you select those classes, you can select the dates and times that you want students to work on the assignment during. You can select the start date and time and the due date and time. This might be really handy if you want to make sure that students don't try to do their homework during the school day. You can also make sure to select the dates and times different for different classes. And once you've entered all of those and click Assign, you are all done. Now we're going to move on to the Reports tab. The Reports tab is where you'll see all the information about assignments that you've created and that students have maybe completed. From here, you can click Create a New Assignment. Or if you already have assignments, then your screen will look something like this. You can see a list of all past and current assignments, including the amount of XP for the assignment, the start and the due dates, and then the number of students out of the total in your classroom who have completed that assignment. On the far right, you can also see the past assignment performance for the entire class. In our class, I'm a little embarrassed to say, our team has completed 27% of its assignments on time. We completed 24% late, and we have missed 49% of our assignments. In our defense, we've been pretty busy perfecting this dashboard, so we'll just move right along from there. As I mentioned, you can create a new assignment from the Reports page using this Create New button at the top. Once you've created assignments, if you want to see information about a specific assignment, you can click on that assignment from the list. I've clicked on the 10 XP assignment that started on June 25th and ended on July 28th. Looks like 11 of our 21 students completed this assignment. On the right-hand side, there is detailed information about this assignment, including the time that it was due. You can see the average amount of time that students spent on this assignment, the average accuracy, and then the number of us who completed the assignment on time, late, and who missed the assignment. Below that information, you'll find every student who has completed the assignment. If you click Export right next to student activity, you'll get a CSV of the information on a page with even more details. So let's see what that looks like. This is a picture of the CSV for the assignment that we were just looking at. You can see that everyone's name, username, and email, which I've blocked out for now, is on here. The classroom name, the time that each student started and completed the assignment, the number of XP that they earned, the total time they spent on the assignment, the average accuracy, the type of session, which is really interesting, and the total XP. So instead of just the number of XP that they completed the assignment with, the total XP that they completed during that session. Also, back to this reports tab, under student activity, you can get even more insight about what a specific student did on a specific assignment. So here I'm going to click on Connor's name, and this screen will pop up showing me that Connor started the assignment at 11 a.m. on June 25th. He practiced French on June 27th at 7:17 a.m. and he practiced for 2 minutes, got 94%, earned 14 XP, and then completed that assignment at 7:17 a.m. Now let's check out the settings that you have access to as a teacher using Duolingo for Schools. Past the Students, the Assign, and the Reports tabs are the Settings tab. First, you'll see a banner that allows you to switch back to the original version of Duolingo for Schools. You can do this through the end of the calendar year 2022, but please note that if you do switch back, this will also switch all of your students' home screens back to the original version of Duolingo. On this page, you'll also find and be able to edit some information about your class. You'll find your classroom code and classroom link that you can send to students in order to join your classroom. You can see the classroom name, and you can change that if you'd like. You can also see and change the languages being taught in the class and the language that your students speak in the class. This is where you can also choose the proficiency scale that best applies to your classroom. And these can be either CEFR or ACTFL standards, depending on what you're working with. You can also download setup instructions to send to your student or delete your classroom. Make sure that if you change any settings on this page, that you click Save Changes at the top. Otherwise, your settings will not be saved. If you do download the PDF instructions, this is what you'll get, and you can send it to students. It will give them information about how to join your classroom from a computer, from a smartphone, or from a tablet using your classroom link or your classroom code. Now, those settings were for individual classrooms in your dashboard. There are also privacy settings that apply to all of the classes associated with your account. So let's check those out. The privacy settings are on the bottom of your screen, and it looks like I'm going to need to move myself. All right, your privacy settings are right above your name and profile picture on the bottom of your teacher dashboard. The first thing you'll see in the privacy settings are social settings. Now, social settings include the ability for you to enable or disable students' participation in discussions, enable or disable students' participation in Duolingo events, which are real-life community events held by Duolingo event hosts. And it allows you to enable or disable the ability for students to accept friend requests and make friend requests for Duolingo users who aren't in their classroom. Underneath these settings is the classroom leaderboard settings. Now, you can turn classroom leaderboards on or off Please note that this will override any public leaderboard access that your students might have. Underneath the classroom leaderboards toggle, you'll find the competition start day, which you can set individually for each classroom. Once you scroll down past the leaderboard section, you'll find content settings. This allows you to enable or disable mature content and the Duolingo podcast. While Duolingo doesn't include inappropriate content, we understand that you may not want students to interact with sentences that include words like beer or wine during the school day. If this is the case, you can disable this content. Now, we're going to look a little bit through the student experience. And as I've mentioned before, students are just using regular Duolingo. This is what a student's screen will look like at duolingo.com on the web. You can see that they can access their assignments on the top right-hand side of their screen. And while they can't see this little module with their assignments in it, if they're on mobile, they can still complete assignments on any device. Now, with Duolingo's new learning path, students move linearly through Duolingo content in the level and at the times best for them. Here you'll see that the next content that I will interact with as a learner of French is Unit 91, Lesson 7. You can also see that there are book icons in the path where I have interacted with or will interact with Duolingo stories. Students can see their assignments, their classroom leaderboard, and other information from the web. But at the end of the day, they'll just get, like on the right side of the screen, those same fun, effective Duolingo learning experiences. Whoop. Students who also receive emails will get invitation emails when you ask them to join your classroom. They'll also get email notifications when they have an assignment that's created or when they complete an assignment. Finally, there are some perks for students and for teachers who use Duolingo for schools. We really believe that students and teachers should have the very best possible learning experience. And so all Duolingo accounts that are teacher or student accounts with Duolingo for Schools will have no ads, no hearts, and will be able to participate in classroom leaderboards. And finally, we have a ton of resources for teachers. So in addition to some of these videos that you're hopefully enjoying, we have resources that can help you integrate Duolingo into your classroom. And you can find them on our Help Center or on our Pinterest and Teachers Pay Teachers pages. Some of them look like this. They're quick and easy ways to get started with Duolingo for schools. We also have a whole lot of printables and craft ideas. And then in addition to this, we have a whole lot of ideas for games that you can play with students inside the classroom, even if you have a limited number of devices. And so these are just a couple of those ideas for real life games that you can play with Duolingo. And finally, we have an amazing group on Facebook, our Educators Network. You can join us there, facebook.com/groups/Duolingo Educators. You can collaborate with others from all over the world and with most of the folks from our Duolingo for Schools team who are in there too. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Twitter, we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. And you might find us other places sooner rather than later. That's it for us for now. If you have any questions, we hope you'll check out our Help Center for more information or to contact our team. And if you download the slides from this presentation, you can get all of these handy links to get more information. Take care, and we hope to see you soon.